Good afternoon and welcome to Remixing the News. My name's Ben and I'm going to do the final part of a longer form thing I've been doing about woke ideology and how it's hurt everywhere. So the first two have made me focus on the actions that it produces and the problems it produces. So now I'm going to talk more about how that's come to be. And, I will make some insinuation because you have to. How many children changed on October 7th from being relatively normal to Jew hating over a very short period of time? Far too many of them should be. And they were prepped for it by a very corrupt governmental and educational structure funded by the Middle East, by Qatar and Saudis, and possibly slightly China, but some of them donor money specifically to big top-tier universities was from Qatar, and it came with conditions on what they would teach. So that is a fact. That is absolutely a fact. The others is more speculation, but it looks like a ceiling that all of them seem to have, all of these people have combined into this horrible Islamist, anti-white and anti-Jew hatred and anti-wherever they live. And America, the DC riots and the Olympic Games should tell everyone that we've had enough of them. And so what does woke mean now in a company? We say, oh, they've gone woke. What does that mean? Well, it means that they've given in to these types of people. Now, they have mainly what's called cluster B personality types. And that's going to be a bit of a long one to get through. Cluster B personalities, they will have either, so here it is. Cluster B personality disorder is characterized by dramatic, emotional, erratic behavior and include borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and antisocial personality disorder. Now, I'm reading that as a fact, but actually a lot of them have all of them. The borderline personality one is created by having too many public avatars. And that's a big problem we face in society with social media. Our kids have their avatars so that they try and show the world how they'd like to be perceived, when in fact, they are in their bubble, and anyone who disagrees with them is immediately sexual, racist, gender, transphobic, or anything that disagrees with them, they can say you're a bigot over, and that makes sense to their victimhood mentality. They've been puppeteers to protest. And, they have this theory of intersectional victimhood, which means that any oppressed minority must stand with every oppressed minority and protest together. And it's the most insane idea, but it comes up. And when we start to stop them, we'll see how bad these disorders will be. But I've seen them in people. A lot of them are histrionic, and a lot of them narcissistic and antisocial. They could get very violent. And that is about cluster B personality types, and happens to be very closely linked to woke culture. That's all fact. How to bring them back is the big question. To go with this, we've got to really go at how it's seen in the workplace now. So a lot of workplaces went woke, but some not too woke. Some, like Disney, will never be able to come back, and Marvel and things like that, because of how woke and how bad they've made them. There should never have been any sexualized content made for people under the age of 12 in any sense of the word. And there's so much, including drag, Storia, and teaching queer theory from 5 years upwards to make them accepting of queer people and this is just who have found their identity in the last 6 or 7 years, and they've just exploded it onto the world. It's not the original LGBT group at all. They fought for their rights. They were very reasonable, and I don't think anyone in Britain shouldn't have any problem with them. I've never had an issue. I've got many gay friends, and I have a trans friend. But I didn't know that until I got into this and doing this. So you can't affirm their delusion. If you can get them home and they're only partially great, because they might be able to come out of it depending on how they've been taught, because they've been taught Marxist communist things and to hate the world through a racial viewpoint, which isn't good for anything. So you can't affirm that that is true. You have to say that's what you believe. Here's what I believe. You have to be very careful in what you do. You cannot use their pronouns or affirm any gender changes they may have made. If they fully made them, that may be impossible, but then you've probably lost them to the mob, unfortunately. The unfortunate thing is the people who actually genuinely suffer with it will probably be lost to the mob as well. Because most, the thing for suicide rate of trans people is 2 years after surgery. That's the peak of it. So they say it very opposite. The doctors say it oppositely to the potential patient, and the useful idiots out there protesting say it completely opposite way. But it's actually true. It's 2 years after the surgery, which is only successful once in every 2 times. We accept once in every 14 times failure for necessary medical surgery. 1 in 2 for child butchery is not acceptable. We need to stop that, and America need to do it at a state-by-state level. But that's how you have to do it, I think. Or it can be brought through as a federal level where by Donald Trump. There's no way anyone else can do it. And, we'll start to see where these people come apart the cracks, and they will have these disorders. If you see someone attacking a cop, they have the woke mind virus, and therefore they have a cluster B personality. If you see, they're being charaded into it, and the only good news is that you can kind of come out of it if you haven't gone too far down. But the problem is, where is it in our institutions, and where do we need to get it out? And that leads on to the real big thing here, which is DEI. And it's in schools, it's in higher learning, and it's in the workplace. And it's basically the communist thought police. There's another way to put it. If there was no racism in a particular organisation, a DEI person or department would have no work. Their job is to create and foster racism and division within, so that everybody feels slightly marginalised. And then you have equity, which is the opposite of equality. Equality means everyone can go for anything, and it's a meritocracy. Equity means everyone can go for what they're told to go for, and it's a basically group ideology where everyone gets equal distribution of wealth and power for about 6 months until who has to police the DEI in their utopia world? Who is the DEI person? Because now they've got a leader, and they're used to group thinking, and they've got a leader, and more leaders will sprout from DEI, because unity means everything has to be represented the same way. Now, there are 99% nighttime road workers and railway workers. That would have to be 50 under a country run by DEI. Brain surgery is the same. Very few female surgeons use brain surgery, considering there were more female surgeons than male. That UK and European news. I haven't checked that, fact-checked that for America, but it's probably going to be similar. But now all of a sudden it has to be 50% female. Now, I don't want someone operating on my brain who didn't want the job. You should want the job, work at the job, get good at the job, get promoted, have fun, enjoy your life, have a family. And, this is not what these people are getting set up to. And they're not, as they're coming into the workplace, they're not being productive. They're being called lazy. They believe they can take mental health days. They can cover workplace Wednesday, free on Friday. Stuff like that. This Gen Z is seen as the worst possible people to hire, which is why a lot of big companies and small companies are moving away from that. But we need to be able to bring them back. So the rules are just never confirm their version of reality. Just keep explaining yours and keep comforting them. Because eventually, it will come soon enough, society will completely say no, and their protests will be met with counter-protests of people who are much tougher than they are. That will happen. There may be civil war. If they're calling it at 41%, even if Trump wins, that's the latest USA poll on if we're close to civil war there. Well, it's getting pretty serious, and we need to bring it back. And to dial it back, we need to immediately, anything woke is a no. because it's not done any good. Woke policies have never achieved anything good. They've only achieved harmful things. It's important to know that. You can come up with an example in a comment that can make sense of it another way. I will listen to that. No one has yet at all. No one's been able to find a positive thing that woke ideology has affected. It's all negative, and we need to work as a society to work with it together. And just to clarify, I'm a retired psychologist specialising in PTSD. This is not medical advice. This is my advice because I know how to de-indoctrinise, because I had to know, because I had to to indoctrinise people to learn it. So this is not medical advice. If you have a child in this situation, you need to have that assessed by a medical professional. Do not take my word for it. These are just generalistic things that you shouldn't do. You can't affirm them, but you don't want to. You don't want to oppose them either. Just let you state your truth. They state theirs. You show them love, and eventually they'll come around. That's how it goes. It's not easy. It's not quick, unfortunately, but that is it. So I'll leave it there for now. It's always a pleasure and a virtue, and I needed to finish this series because of what's going on with Kamala Harris. And if she gets in, you can bet that the world will change very dramatically into a new world, or World War III within 4 years. So I don't think we want that. We want some luck. So you get some luck. I'll be good, and I'll see you soon.